Okay, I'm going to be working on 0.7 group. So I'm going to go ahead and open their 0 file. And I already have 0.7 groups project open. So I have created a list here, and I'll be adding these lists in at the bottom of the screen. And it's BotKeeper onboarding. We're not actually going to be moving this particular client to BotKeeper just because they're not a good fit. But if they were a good fit, we would be doing all these things. The main focus that we're working on right now is review and approve the rules. All the stuff in teamwork, all the 0 reports, you don't need to worry about. Inviting anybody, don't need to worry about that. Looking at LastPass, don't worry about that. Reviewing and correcting Dext, don't worry. So really it's just this one here. After we have the rules reviewed and approved by you, then Mila, who is the VA on this project, will enter the spend money rules in 0, and then we'll add a new overhead account 77777 suspense split expenses, and we add that to the dashboard watch list. The reason we're doing that is so that we can easily be able to push information from Dext into 0 without having to go directly into Dext. So everything should automatically flow through. If we don't know how to deal with it, then it should go to suspense, and we should be looking at Dext at least once a month to update rules. But for now, you don't need to worry about that. They'll just be taking care of these two things, and we'll talk about Dext in another video. So with this file, I have gone in and added links to the links page. And this is 0.7, DBA 0.7 group, account transaction and bank rules. And I've actually edited the name of this spreadsheet to be through 8/31 because we're actually looking at the transactions through today. Sorry, I was trying to remember what the heck I was doing. So for now, I'm actually just going to go in here and hide these columns. I've got a row header for type, condition, contains, vendor, account, bank rule name, and notes, and completed. And I will add these in for you. So just to make this easy, I'm going to go in, and I'll tell you why in a second, but I'm going to hide these rules. And then I've actually already cleaned up all the bank rules. And the bank rules need to be very specific. It needs to be the name of the vendor and the name of the account in the chart of accounts. So it should be Uber and then space and then hyphen space and then the account here. And I'll show you why this matters in a second, but if it doesn't say exactly this information, I need you to go ahead and just edit that, edit the bank rule. And I actually have my VAs working on this now because I had given them some incorrect instructions before, so shame on me, but they're fixing it now. What I normally do to check on bank rules is I just hold down Command and then, which is essentially a right click, and with my mouse, I click everything open, and then, let's just make this bigger. I will hit Command, Option, and then the right arrow to move to the right, and then Command, Option, left arrow. So if I know this is accurate, I can click Command W and just go through these, or I can make my adjustments, click Save, and then click Command W. The things that I'm noticing here a lot is this might say Verizon Wireless here, but it only says Verizon down here. Or it is Verizon hyphen space and then the chart of account. I'm also seeing 2 spaces sometimes, which is for me easy to pick out, but you might need to just watch for that. So I'll go ahead. I already know this is correct, so I'm just going to close these down. I've already done all these reviews, so hopefully it works. We might find that I have some errors, but fingers crossed we don't have to go back and change anything. Okay, so now I'm going to highlight everything in the rules. And then I'm going to Command C, and in column F, I'm going to paste everything here, and I'm going to paste the values only. Now I'm going to take this bank rule name, and I'm going to sort it A to Z, and I am going to remove where it says any text field contains, and remove anything that says edit. I'm only looking for a list of the vendors and the bank rules. Cool. And I'm going to look to see if there's anything that has been duplicated here. And I'm going to take this opportunity to go into 0 and correct any bank rules that have more than one that should be applied to just one bank rule. I'll leave the ones for Ashley here. Yeah, these look like, I'm probably just going to leave these. It should be online transfer to checking, and then it needs to also include 9,000 to needs to also include 7322. So this is something that probably needs to have just one bank rule per transfer. Sorry, tongue-tied. But some other stuff that I had found before, let's see what we have here. One that was in here previously, there were 2 rules, one for budget space rent -a -car and budget rent a car. So rather than having 2 rules in here, I just created one, and I made this say that anytime it comes in as either budget rent a car, it's right. So that way it just keeps our rule list clean. And then now I'm going to go into the type, and I'm going to type in 0 rule, and I'm going to copy this down. And then I'm going to take this, and I'm going to highlight it yellow. Why do we highlight it yellow? I just think it's easier to see what is an existing rule. It's just for my visual preferences. I'm just a little anal retentive that way. Sorry. All right, now we're gonna just type in spend money rule. That's what's gonna be next. Or sorry, spend money transaction though. So I'll just say spend money. And we already have a list of the account transactions here, but this was actually run like a week or so ago. So I'm just gonna delete it. And then to get to that custom report, I'm going to go into reports. It's starred for me, but you might need to star this on your dash and go to custom and then account transactions rule review. And I'm going to make a couple edits here. This is actually supposed to be running this on all the accounts, but I'm just going to deselect anything that is a checking, savings, credit card, anything that's going to muddy up our work, just going to take extra time. I'm also going to get rid of PayPal, Bill.com, don't need any AR, so we're good there. And I had them run this on spend money and receive money, or set it up as that. I'm actually just looking at spend money right now. So I'll go ahead and click update, and I'm going to now take this and export it to Google Sheets and just highlight it, and then take it over here, copy and paste, so that way we know what we're working with. Go ahead and close this out so I don't confuse myself. And then I'm going to take, actually, that already says spend money, so I'm just going to take this spend money, description, account, and then Shift, Command, down arrow, Command, C. I'll go over to the Bank Rules tab, and I'm going to go ahead and just, let's overwrite this, Control V, and that is ugly. So I'm going to take one more step here, is I'm going to take all these transactions, and you can see that there's some information that's after the, after a hyphen for more info. And I'm just going to paste it here, and you can actually reorder the columns to make it simpler for you. Rather than having description account, you might want to have account description to save this step. But I'll take this, I will click data, split text to columns, separator is custom, and it is a hyphen. And then I am going to remove anything that we don't need to keep. So 7-11, and it could be even faster if you just want to go like that and just have it go through the account. All right, so I'm going to go back and actually sort this by color. Fill color is yellow at the top again, and we're going to go down. So the bank rules for this client, I'm going to freeze the first row. All right, so vendor name is in D, and I'm going to switch this so it's Ready Rooftop Bar, Nielsen Entertainment. So I need it to look like this. It needs to be vendor name, space, hyphen, space, and then the name here. So I'm going to go equals, concatenate, and then I'm going to take vendor name, comma, so that's D120. What is that? Quotes, sorry, brain dead. Quotes. And then so I'm doing quote, space, hyphen, space, quote, comma, account, close the parentheses. That will suggest an autofill where I'm going to say, yeah, make it easy for me. And then now I'm going to take all this information here. I'm going to highlight everything, data, remove duplicates. The data has a header row, and I only want to analyze column F, remove duplicates. So I'll go ahead and click remove duplicates, and it has removed 850 duplicate rows, and there are 420 rows that remain. So that should have taken everything that was exactly the same. We may find that there's some dupes still in here, but hopefully not. So I'll go ahead and click sort A to Z. And now I'm just gonna visually look. I don't have to look at thousands of transactions. But I see that they've got Amazon going to suspense rather than to the individual accounts. I don't need to worry about this because they're actually hand coding that based on the way that they set the rule up. So I'll go ahead and just clear that out, and then I'm going to sort it again to get rid of it. And then I probably need to add in an interest expense and late fees. Let's see if they actually have an interest expense rule. They might have made it more broad. Nope. Okay, cool. So that means I can keep this stuff. Let's keep scrolling down. See, this transaction came in as Amtrak Travel Auto, and this is Amtrak Travel Other. So I'm actually going to just mark this red, and I'm going to ask the accountant which is correct. And I'm going to give him a little note in teamwork. So that's just a note for me right here. Let's see what else you might have. And then I know that there's going to be a difference between computer and office equipment and office expenses. So I'm going to see if there's any patterns here. So I'm just going to leave a note for me that says patterns. And I'm noticing that the fonts are all different, and that's going to drive me crazy. So Consolas 9 is what I use because it's a monospace font and it is superior to all fonts because it is super easy to read. All right, let's keep going down. There's no way I'm going to be able to code an ATM withdrawal, so I'm going to get rid of that one. I am going to probably fix that rule because it looks like it's going to the right place, but the rule is Beam Premium, and this just goes to Beam. So review rule, keep going down. I see that there is box in here twice, so I actually need to look and see how this comes in. I can highlight that just for like a note. I know we're not going to be able to have a Chase withdrawal. No way in heck I'm going to be able to code that. They have two different ways that they're coding this transaction, Colony Palms Hotel. So we'll look there as well. And I'm going to speed this part up because it's going to be super annoying to watch me do this. Oh, actually, one thing we see here, Craigslist, no space, advertising and promotion. It didn't dedupe this because I have the bankroll wrong. So I'm going to go and fix that real quick. Another way that you can review this is go to the vendor name and do A to Z and just look for differences. Like this, American Express, they have it booked to interest, late fees, and travel air. That's probably going to be something we can create a rule for. We just need to see how that transaction actually comes into the software. So I'm just going to highlight that. So I take a special look at that and I just remind myself that I need to have a second pass at that. Another great way to find duplicates without having to look at everything visually is to highlight the vendor name and then go to conditional formatting and then copy this range, and we're going to just mark this as dark red, and we're going to say the custom formula. So equals count if. Then we're going to paste that range in there. We're going to add a $sign, $sign, $sign. So D1, D1270 with $signs before it. And then D1 parentheses greater than 1. And click done. And then we can also go in here and we can sort it by this very dark color. So maybe I actually want it looks like I've already copied some of these, but if I want to go make this go faster, I might want to see like why did they code S Merit Systems to computer software SaaS and software supplies. So I'll go ahead, boop, and we're going to change that. And so I don't have a lot of really ugly sheet, I'm going to make it all the same. That's not the same. There, make it all the same. Cool. Done. Great. All right, so going back, bank rule name. After I am satisfied that all the bank rules are accurate and that there isn't any duplication where I might need to adjust a bank rule, like maybe, for example, there was a GoDaddy transaction and we're seeing Go space Daddy and GoDaddy, it might mean that I need to adjust a bank rule to actually fit what the current transactions come in as. I actually haven't seen anything really that has piqued my interest or has made me want to go in and do a double take. Ooh, this one actually does. Moo US. So I spoke too quickly. So I'm going to go back into my bank rules sheet. Nope. So it looks like May 11th, we have Moo US, and then we have moo.com for these other transactions. So we're going to click View Details on all these transactions. And remember, I can go through these quickly by hitting Command Option the arrow. So that's Moo Print, moo.com, moo space Inc. So I'll go into the bank rule and type in moo. All right, this is too crazy long. So this is never going to work for a bank rule anyway. So I'm going to go into moo, and I'm going to make this broader, and I'm going to give them a few variations. So moo Inc, and then moo print. Now, Tina, why did you not just do moo? Well, there could be something that ends in moo or has moo in it, like it could be like mood rings or something, and it would pick up MOO, and it would make it run on transactions that it did not need to run on. So if I have to keep the .com behind it, I will. I try not to keep it if I can get away with it. So like Lucidchart, for example, is probably going to have a .com behind it. But there's really not anything else that has the string of Lucidchart. So I'm going to keep that there. Let's see if we have anything else. Moo.com, hotels, GoDaddy.com. There's probably not going to be a GoDaddy in a string where it's going to be a word with GoDaddy inside. So I'm just going to take that off. I'm also going in and I'm creating some variables. So it could also come in as GoDaddy. It's possible. So I'll click any and then save. Let's see if we have anything else. Apple.com, maybe. Bill.com, I'm definitely going to keep the way it is. Monday.com, I'm going to keep it the way it is. That's such a word we use every day. Like Monday might show up somewhere else. Okay. Apple, I'm going to keep this here, but remember before I also made a note to myself to double check what patterns exist for why we treat transactions in different ways. Wix, we probably won't have Wix show up with in a sentence or in a word, so I'll leave that there. Cool. And I'm going to go ahead and delete this because I have adjusted it. I also have found U-Haul for office expenses, and I know that we have a U-Haul rule. So let's go into the account transactions. And U-Haul is going to be at the end, so I can just go to page 2, as I know it's going to be here, probably. Right, U-Haul. This came in as U-Haul. This came in as U-Haul. So they must have hand-coded this transaction before the rule was created. Let's find out. Let's be sneaky. So this is April 4th. So this was actually created in September of 2019, but we fixed the rule in August of 2021. So it is super possible that we made this it's too narrow, or it is the wrong name. Duh. Okay, so I'm going to go in here and have both of these options. So you can see that this is a tedious process and I hate it, but there's really not a better option right now, so sorry. Okay, I think we're good. All right, let me unhighlight this. This is just for my visual for the moment. And then now I'm going to filter by color. Show me everything that is white. Cool. These are still going to stay red because we have that conditional format set there. If you want to turn it off, you can just highlight the column, conditional formatting, and then you can delete it. So whatever you want. I'm just showing you my tips and tricks. So I'm going to say that this needs to run on any. And I may change this where we might have to have something run for all, like what we did before, where it had to be multiple conditions in order to run properly, like those bank transaction rules, or Gusto has to say Gusto and then another line fee, which is annoying. But the next step here is I'm going to start by looking at the vendors that are going to annoy me the most, or I want to get rid of these notes for, because I want to deliver these questions to an accountant in the beginning of the process so I can continue moving on. And if before I give this to Mila to do her work, I want to make sure that this is totally complete. So I'll go in here and I'm actually just going to filter this to make this simple, but I'm going to go into description and type American Express and then click apply filter and then update. And then I have interest expense, and then I have travel, late fees, and then dues and subscriptions. So, and I'm going to close that. Interest expense. This is going to be interest charged on purchase. And I'm going to paste values only. The next one is also an interest expense. And that's also interest charged on purchase. And because I want to save myself later, I'm just going to only have it say interest, because there's probably not going to be another transaction that's going to come in with that in the descriptor where it is actually interest. Amex Travel goes into travel. I need that to show up as Amex Travel. This is a late fee, and it just shows up as late fee, so we're good to just put that here. All right, the next I had a question about was Amtrak. So I'll do the same. And we have things coming in under travel, auto, and other. Interesting. There's really not a good way for me to be able to pull out Amtrak other and Amtrak auto. It looks like they have the 0 rule set to Amtrak travel other. So I'm going to ask the accountant this question, which is actually correct, because I don't want to guess. And then the next one I had a question about was Apple computer office and equipment and office expenses. And we may it looks like there's no reference set here. Can we add anything else? No, that stinks. Sometimes if you leave the reference open, it'll allow you to see what came in on the bank line rather than having to click through stuff. If you have a better way of doing this, gosh, please tell me, because this is annoying. All right, Apple. We have a bunch of office expenses and then computer. Actually, I am going to add one thing in here. I'm going to add the gross amount. Actually, I'm not going to do it that way. I'm going to add the column for gross. And let's just take a gander. So this actually has a reference. This is internet charge, blah, blah, blah. I don't see anything here for the office expense, but that's $3,000. Let's just do a sort. So the largest expense that we have under office expenses is $136. So I would probably just put this in here as, let's see, a second rule for Apple that is also greater than $150. And yeah, amount is greater than $150. And that is going to be all. Actually, I need to put that here. And then I'm just going to mark this as, well, I can do conditional formatting here too, because I don't want to have to remember to mark shit. So I'm going to say that the text is exactly all, and it is going to change this to red and bold. Wrong one. Red and bold. Yay. Okay, done. And then St. Moritz. This is SaaS and software. Oh, sorry. This is also computer supplies and equipment. So I'm going to say that anytime computer SaaS or software is, how does this come in? St. Moritz. All right. I'm going to get rid of the ST because they might add a period or something later. And I'm going to say anytime that it is under $100, then it should be computer SaaS. And then if it's equipment, it should be over $100. Cool. So now I'm going to go into the project and I'm just going to send a quick note to the accountant. So hopefully by the time I'm done doing this work, they will have an answer to me and we're one step closer to having rules entered by our VA. And I have already done this before in another file. So we're going to go to Agilitech because I know I did this yesterday. I don't have a great template saved yet. So I don't even know if you can save templates in messages. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. So my last message, I'm just going to take this and I'm going to go into here and go to messages. And who is on? I think this is still Megan. Yeah, it's still Megan. So add a message, and I'm going to say, take the same existing rule, bankroll versus bankroll creation question. So I'm going to say, hey, Megan. Let's make this bigger. And I'm going to copy the URL, and everybody on the team should be able to see it and edit it. Yay. Then I'm going to, here it says you can find the bankrolls here. Gonna copy that here, and then I have questions about these vendors. So we have Amtrak first, and I'm just gonna type in Amtrak as the vendor. The current bank goes to Travel Other, and then we also having it go to Travel Auto. And you might notice that these fonts are different, so you can actually go in and clear the formatting. And I would say in my question, the bankroll is set to Travel Other, but transactions are posting to, which is correct. And I'm going to do this for all the questions that I have. So these are all the questions that I had. I will wait for Megan to get back to me. So, hey Megan, these are my questions. Here's the vendors. I'm going to set the privacy to Accounting Pros. I'm going to notify Megan. And then I'm going to post this. While I'm waiting for her to do that, or waiting for her to get back to me, then I am going to fill in the ways that the transactions come into the account. So I'll have to click through these, and I usually click through a couple to see how they were actually how they came in, because it could change. But normally it stays pretty much the same. Like, we should be able to create this once and it hopefully won't change later. So I'll go ahead and do that. And then the next thing I do is, once it's done, I will add in data validation, checkbox, save, and then I'm going to copy this down. When the VA gets this, they are going to check off the rules that they have created here so that we know what's been done. And so you know, in this list of items, if you go back to BotKeeper onboarding, you will see that review and approve rules and enter spend money rules, these are going to be dependent on each other. So my process of this is due today. Like, what I want to have done is due today. I said that Mila's is due tomorrow, but she can't actually check this off until my work is complete, or in this case, your work is complete. So I would, if you need to push due dates out, please do. If you want me to introduce you to the VAs as well, please let me know. But for now, I'll go ahead and complete this, and I'll wait for my response from Megan. Once Megan's response comes back, I'll either adjust the rule, or I'll create different rules for different amounts. Maybe meals and entertainment is like $50 and travel is like $1,000, or whatever, it was backwards last time. Or maybe it's just impossible to create these rules, in which case we just won't do it. So please let me know if you have any questions. I know this is a lot to take in, especially because I'm a fast talker, but let me know if I can help you. Thanks.